I have doubts about rapports in 3. Me 36 male ale with my girlfriend 36 years old. The situation goes like this. I met this girl 8 years ago. We had a hookup and then we remained friends with benefits. And in intermittent touch. At some point, she confessed her feelings, but I wasn't quite there yet. Needless to say, we both continued with our lives and have our history. During COVID lockdown, we both started talking frequently and I started having feelings for her. Finally, I decided to start a relationship with her. When I asked her, she agreed. So, this starts the most mature and strong relationship I've ever had. I am a very S-Zool person. I have had already a rapport in 3 and a couple of other S-Zool experiences. She always was more conservative. During the lockdown, as friends, we talked about having a rapport in 3. I guess she wanted to experience it. Now, we talked again. I am more into male and female. And she is open to having both male and male and female experiences. But she wants to feel comfortable with the third wheel. So, she chose both AF and AM friend from her circle. Which I'm not very comfortable about. I think a third wheel should be more like an accessory. Talking about her choices, getting to know them a little bit more, I realized the M friend was an old hookup from her, who regained contact with her during the lockdown. A bit more about him at the beginning of lockdown. She asked me if she should talk with him. And as a friend, I saw no problem and even encourage her. But now as her boyfriend, I do have a problem. I won't prohibit her from having contact with anyone. But I'm not comfortable with the idea. Such a mess I did a while ago. She had a friends meeting, a girlfriend, and him. She asked me if she should propose to him, and I agreed. She spent the whole day with them. And I got angry. As we have quite good communication, I told her I don't feel comfortable with her talking with other men she has a history, let alone spending that much time together. She has friends, but this is quite a different situation. I told her I don't want her to stop talking with anyone for me, as I find that ridiculous. Since as soon as we broke she would start talking again. But I want common sense. She assures me eventual messages as old friends were all I should expect. And she seemed to understand. I noticed she avoided future meetings. And she even asked me to see her conversation. I refused, as I don't see the point of it. Today she told me they phoned. I got angry. But I said nothing. It's just that we will have a free weekend in a couple of weeks. And we were planning the female and male rapports for those days. And I thought, as she won't stop talking with him after it happens, what will they talk about? I know I sound jealous. It's because I am. I hope I get some advice, and maybe someone with a similar life experience could tell me what to expect. I'm far from perfect. So, feel free to point out my mistakes. Too long didn't read. I need advice or other point of views about my situation. Unclear on why you're acting like you're okay with this rapport in 3 if you're not. Guaranteed to blow up the relationship if you already can't deal with her talking to him. Oh, I see. You think you can manipulate her into no longer talking with him if you agree to the rapport in 3 with him. You all need to put the kibosh on opening up the relationship or having a rapport in 3 until you work things out and figure out if you're on the same page or not. It's not actually an unreasonable boundary to declare that rapports in 3 do not be with established friends. But to get there, you all have to openly discuss boundaries and expectations. You can't say that you wouldn't prevent her from being friends with someone and then act in a way that is contrary to you. You can't help your gut reactions. But you do have control over how you respond and react on them. You gotta figure out if you can really deal with this friendship. Sounds like it's common for both of you to be friends with ex's hookups, considering you were FWB for a while. And B, they rebuilt their friendship before you were dating her. That means their friendship predates your relationship, and therefore you're in the position of determining if you can accept it or if it bothers you too much and you need to walk. Can you cope with jealousy, or will it tear you apart? This is the kind of advice I was looking for. I was thinking of it the whole night. To be honest, I still haven't made my head around all you said. What I can tell you is, I will talk seriously with her when the time comes. But first I will try to figure out if I can cope with jealousy or not. You seem controlling. I try not to be. I won't ask her for information about him. She is the one that wants me to know. I refuse to read her messages. She also left a couple of times her WhatsApp open. I did not read it. I don't know. Maybe I am because of other behaviors. I was single for several years now. From what you wrote, you seem very upset about her communicating with this guy. Which seems silly because you're pushing for a rapport in 3. You want her to be comfortable with it. If this is the guy you both decide to ask, she's gonna be having sex with him, which might upset you even more. Maybe a rapport in 3 is not such a good idea for her. I get your point. I thought that too. My problem is what happens after the rapport in 3. Because I guess I won't feel good if she continues having contact with him. A guy-girl we just bring to bed, and then we never see again. That I am comfortable with. What you want is called a ex-worker. Maybe a one-time unicorn. Get on field. Second story. Boyfriend male 23 constantly makes rapports in 3 jokes about my best friend. Unsure of how to feel about it. My boyfriend male 23 and I female 20 have been in a relationship for over a year. I don't want to go too deep into the past because we've had a lot of personal issues with him respecting my boundaries and lying. But I still love him a lot and see myself marrying him one day. I've made it clear to him that I am a monogamous person and that my ex cheated on me with my ex-best friend. To give a bit of background. My ex was a very emotionally and physically overwhelming person. He constantly gaslit and manipulated me and started flirting with my ex-best friend and making Zul jokes with her. Then started comparing our bodies, which is now a trigger for me in my current relationship. Although I am trying to get over that heel because I understand ex jokes can be humorous. Lately, my current boyfriend has been doing the same with my current best friend. She is a very attractive lady in a relationship with my boyfriend's best friend. We're all in the same friendship group and group chats. But she's shown no interest in my boyfriend, so I am not scared of anything happening between them. However, my boyfriend has made a lot of rapports and 3 jokes about her and backhanded compliments on her body versus mine. For example, how my ass is better than hers, etc. I've asked him to stop making ex jokes about any of my friends because it makes me feel like he wants to sleep with them. I've also asked him to not compare our bodies because it makes me think he's staring at her ass enough to draw a comparison. He said he understood this and won't do it again. Another thing he's been doing is ignoring my messages in group chats and personal chats, but instantly replying to her message in a group. Even if I've sent one before, which really hurts my feelings. All of this put together has made me feel like he has some sort of attraction towards her. I focus a lot more on a person's actions towards me. Especially my boyfriend's, because he's lied to me a lot in the past. We've had several conversations about him ignoring my messages, body comparisons, and ex jokes, and yet it doesn't feel like it's coming to an end. Every time I bring it up, he tells me he doesn't have a thing for her. That I am wrong and stupid for thinking this way, and it makes me feel really invalidated. I've told him he's invalidating my feelings and denying my reality, which is a manipulation tactic, and he doesn't really see it. I tried to bring it up last night, and he shut me down, telling me I was wrong for feeling this way. I told him I am really struggling to bring up issues in our relationship without feeling incredibly guilty or like my feelings are valid. I said I was feeling like I was with my ex again, and he said that really hurt him. Not much has changed since that conversation last night. Today he ignored me again for her messages and said mine was too long to read, they were probably less than a sentence. I constantly feel so undermined and wrong in my emotions with him. I wish he listened and validated my feelings, and he would do what he says he will. Too long didn't read. Boyfriend constantly makes reports and 3 jokes about my best friend, which is something my overwhelming ex used to do. He says he doesn't want to sleep with her and carries on saying them even when I've asked him to stop. He also ignores my messages in group chats but replies to her when I bring up an issue. He tells me my feelings are wrong and that what I am perceiving isn't the case. I am struggling to feel like I can bring anything up anymore. Does anyone have any advice about what I can say to him in this situation, or is there no hope? Edit. Thank you everyone for your comments. The advice is something I really needed to hear. I had a conversation with him a few nights ago and basically explained what you guys have mentioned. Specifically the fact that I brought this up multiple times and he hasn't changed. I told him he needs to change this behavior without giving me any excuses reasons as to why he can't, and he took that quite well. He is adamant that the rapport and 3 jokes are just his sense of humor, and that he doesn't have any sexual attraction to her, even if she was single. I am not sure how convincing this is, but nonetheless he has told me he will respect me and listen to what I say first time. I've also had a long chat about invalidating my feelings, and he seems as though he really understands it. We've both agreed to move on from this, but I've made it clear I won't tolerate any more ex reports and 3 jokes. Invalidation of my feelings nor me having to ask more than once for a behavior to stop if we've had a conversation about it. I hope things are better from here. I can update in a few months and let you guys know how it's going if you're interested. Thanks for being there. Reddit. You have talked to him multiple times about this. He hasn't changed. I know the default here is to dump your significant other. But here it makes sense. He's not respecting you or listening to your concerns when you communicate them. You have tried telling him multiple times how what he's doing is upsetting and not funny. And he doesn't care. There is no magical thing we can say to make him less of an ass. There is no advice to make him actually listen to what you are saying. At this point you are better off leaving. Third story. Male 42 got back with love of my life after a 5-month split. And female 40, she told me that she had recently got back with her friends couple and had a rapport in 3. And then got introduced to another man who had paid her for a BDSM session. Got back with love of my life after a 5-month split. And she told me that she had recently got back with her friends couple and had a rapport in 3. And then got introduced to another man who had paid her for a BDSM session. I male 42 genuinely thought it was over this time. Sally 40. And I have a true love story and have been friends for 12 years and lovers for the past 3+. It had been 5 months up until 6 weeks ago. And she randomly contacted me. As she does. And I invited her to my house to talk. We ended up spending the next 36 hours together. And it was amazing. Not just physically. Just lost in the love of our hearts. We remained in contact. And then I found a reason to reach out. And then spent the whole weekend with her. That was a month ago. And we've picked right back up. So, 2 weeks ago, we're having one of those hard talks that needs to be had. It got a little heated on her side because it was about a girl that I had been with. During our break, I knew she knew and I felt horrible about it. I definitely thought she had done her own thing during those months. And had no qualms with that. Sure. It hurts. But that's part of life. Love. And relationships. During the somewhat heated conversation, she let slip what she had been up to recently. She said she got a hold of her friend's couple and had a rapport in 3 with them. And introduced her to a man that she ended up doing a bondage BDSM session with. Her next words were, "Some people pay really well for that." Then she proceeded to tell me that there was no going forward. And she hadn't had anyone else inside of her since me. Okay. We were broke up. I'm not a jealous person until I am. If that makes sense. Well. Now she opened the book and I want to read it. We've had a split or two before and she told me about a friend of mine and hers and what went on with them one night. Just some innocent finger banging. Like. I said. I get it. Things happen. We're adults. No qualms with that. I worked right through that. For me, this is different. I'm still trying to work out why. I told her I needed to understand. And no more. This truly bothers me and need to be in the light. I'm a very open person. And I do not judge her for this. I just want to be consoled. She went as far as to tell me that the couple and her use a duck machine. And there is no going forward with the guy. Same with the guy that they introduced to her. And paid her for bondage with a whip to tell it in her words. I'm very good at reading people. And I do not believe her. She started crying and her eyes told me all I needed to know. So for the past 2 weeks, I've gone up and down the rabbit hole. Spending thousands of dollars drinking, drugging, and gambling to stay out of my head. I've been with her almost every second since. Until something comes into play that reminds me that the love of my life has had a side job where another man thinks he owns her. I am in a certain kind of hell. I have heaven beside me and hell within. I am broken. To the point I've been walking in the cold all night outside, freezing in the mountains and snow, trying to make sense of this. I know there are a lot of holes in this post. But this is the second time I've tried to write, and I just need to get it out there. I'm no angel. But I'm honest and value integrity in that. And when it comes to Clyde wanting Bonnie to console him, I would do whatever it took. I'm asking for any and all help. Not an easy thing to do. For this guy. Thank you. Too long, didn't read. Lover. Breakup. BDSM. Bondage. Provider. Resentment. So many questions. Help. I'm not trying to be rude, but this really isn't a true love story. You guys have broken up multiple times. Which was obviously for a reason. I don't understand why you keep getting back together even with a reason big enough to break up. Also, adults don't just go get finger banged and move on if they're in a relationship. That's not normal unless you have a more open relationship, which doesn't seem you want, so the we're adults thing is irrelevant to me. Also, you mentioned it being her job. Is she a ex-worker? If she is, did you know this prior to getting in a relationship with her? It's okay to not want to be with someone who by the nature of their job pretty much has to have an open relationship. That line of work just isn't for everyone. Also, I don't think you really have room to be mad about her escapades when you literally had sex with people on the break too. I understand your jealousy though. It's not always logical, but it is always hurtful, so I'm sorry for that. Fourth story. I 27 female had a rapport in 3 with my friend 27 male and his girlfriend 26 female and can't stop thinking about him. Oh boy. Odd situation I thought I'd never find myself in. I've been good with this guy friend, Mark, for a couple years. The timings worked out, so we've never been single at the same. But I've always thought if we were, something might happen between us. We're both attractive, get along really well, have a shared sense of humor. When I was in my last long-term relationship, I put a bit of space between me and Mark, still remaining friends, but also sensing that vibe between us. I loved my boyfriend and am a loyal person, so I put Mark out of my thoughts. It's still something though that my ex-boyfriend clocked. He wasn't the jealous type, but asked me about my relationship with Mark once or twice after observing us together. Anyways, a few months ago, my long-term relationship ends. Mark has had a girlfriend for a few months at this point. And I completely respect that and have become used to viewing him as a platonic friend. Em and I talk about my breakup a little. We talk about how well his relationship is going. And then a few weeks later, after a bunch of our friends had gone out together drinking, he and his girlfriend initiate a rapport in 3 with me. It happens the next 2 times we all go out together as well. After the first time, I think I was just a little shell-shocked. It's a taboo thing. And didn't think my friend, let alone his girlfriend who was a bit quiet, would be into that kind of thing. It's not something I would want to do in a relationship. But after having sex with my friend, while his girlfriend watched, I can't stop thinking about how bad I want him. How much I want to sleep with him again. I can't stop fantasizing about it. It's like all those years of suppressing feelings have come flooding out. One time, after the girlfriend fell asleep, Mark and I continued to drunkenly fool around. I am not particularly into the girlfriend or anything. Most of the rapports in 3 involved us taking turns with M, occasionally kissing each other. I feel like the answer here is obvious: stop sleeping with them. He's in a relationship. And I would never do anything to sabotage that. But I feel like having sex with him has just confused my feelings a whole bunch. And I want him so badly that I am tempted to keep doing it. It consumes my thoughts. Clearly it's okay with him and his GF. And sleeping with him feels really, really good. Too long didn't read. Slept with friend in rapports in 3. Can't stop thinking about it. Not sure what to do. I am going to be blunt. You're lying to yourself. You are emphatically in love with this guy. Or at least totally infatuated. You say you'd never do anything to sabotage their relationship. But you continuing to engage sexually with him while she was asleep is, if not cheating in the strictest sense, perilously close to that. I personally would consider that cheating. Maybe his girlfriend is different. Maybe not. And that's kind of the crux of the problem. You talk a lot about your wants here. But not about the girlfriend's. Or even his. Have you all talked about this at all? Is their relationship actually open? If so, what kind of open relationship? Is she really an enthusiastic participant? Or is she just going along with this because he's insisted on it? What are the boundaries? From a purely sexual health standpoint, who else are they sleeping with? None of you are kids. You need to be able to talk about this. Because if you don't, it's going to blow up in your face completely. Hit like if you enjoyed this video. Consider subscribing to our channel.